Dark rituals, dire warnings, and a battle of wills. This is Gluttony and Earth. Hello and welcome to the IDL. My name's Nick, and this is Gluttony and Earth. Joining to joining.
I take that again, big cat.
All right. With me, who isn't having a stroke, it's Kyle.
Hi.
Way more on top of their game, it's Adam.
I'm on like 4 hours of sleep. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I had an hour and a half of tech issues. You could have napped. And forever a mess, it's BakaZombie.
Kyle's visual gag of slowly making it over his way over the microphone is going to transfer really well to audio only.
Yeah, I can't wait for like 2 to 3 weeks from now when I'm editing this and I don't remember. I just shorten it. I'm like, that's a lot of dead air. No, I think in the beginning I usually am better at realizing whether or not something is meant to take that long or not, because it's not like people deciding on what they're gonna do on their 7th turn. So I was thinking about this. I said that I think I started a lot of these with a lot of my bands with that. So I was thinking about this. There's a lot of thoughts going on about this one subject. You hear about this? You know about this? Camping. Am I right? No. So I'm off. I'm like near like a park and like a creek where I work. And so I'm out like in the forests. Basically, what I'm doing, and I was curious what everyone has in experience with camping. Like, what is your camping level of engagement that you do?
I need to have a toilet.
You need to have a toilet?
I'm not pooping in the woods. I will not poop in the woods. I need to have a toilet that flushes. Like, not even like, I'm not gonna do an outhouse situation.
You want
a toilet that flushes.
No outhouse, no ferns. You need
you can't go to my grandparents' house then.
You need a camp that has a center with public toilets.
Yeah, just like something that flushes, because I'm not gonna deal with that.
Yeah.
Growing up, and my grandparents didn't have running water in their house until I was probably in high school. You had to go out to the outhouse. You go in the bathroom. It's cold.
It's easier to get if it's walking.
Yeah. They're old Finnish people. You had to go out to the outhouse on the hill. You had to go down the hill to the well and pump your water.
Nope, couldn't do it.
We had a fake well at my grandparents'. It was like a decorative well in their front yard.
Well, was it like a pump?
No,
they have a pump. It's still there, and you can still use it, and I think they do. But yeah, that's the only choice they had for a long time was the pump down by the lake.
Yeah, that's how it was decorative. It wasn't even, there wasn't a hole that it didn't go anywhere. Although as a kid, I wish it did. I thought that was like super cool, and I wanted to be like to go down the rope and explore it. Well, I mean, so basically living at your grandparents or being at your grandparents was like camping.
Kind of, I guess, yeah.
Any more traditional? Do you go out? Do you like to be out in the woods, take a little walk and gander?
For Boy Scouts, we'd go all the time. Like we went camping in the winter and sleep in a quincy, which is like an igloo, but it's not like, you don't build it with cubes. You just like make a mound of snow and then you dig into it. Mm-hmm. And we slept in below 0 temperatures. Yep. And I was by the door, so my feet were a little cold, but the guy next to me was even colder because I was quite the prankster. And you could see why when I tell you what I did. I would punch the ceiling above his sleeping bag. No.
I am remembering the story now.
Yeah, poor Andy. I woke up in the middle of the night and he's just shivering.
My favorite pranks are the ones that could be life-threatening.
But like for that too, it was what was it called? I can't remember what it was called, but like we would. Now I'm going to explain it. It's going to sound very strange, but essentially you'd have like a dog sled, but the kids would pull the dog sled. So we'd pull his dog sled around the woods and go do different tasks all day. And then sleep in a snow pile. And we do those ones. Then we have like summer camps, or we'd go there for a week, and you'd be in the middle of the woods and have to hike to the main camp and do Boy Scout stuff. And there's no running water at those ones. But it was cool because like the campsites would be these like expansive areas, and they'd be like different levels. Like one of the camps we go to is the furthest one out, or campsites we go to is the furthest one out. And we would always climb to the highest hill in that campsite and sleep on top of that, so you could look over everything. Very cool stuff. I like camping.
Cool. Yeah, it can be fun. Like when I'm doing it, like if I'm not camping, if I'm actively not camping at this moment, it does not sound appealing at all. But like if I'm in the activity of camping, I think it's pretty nice. I enjoy just being out there in the woods. I grew up in the county, so like I think that kind of helps me feel more at home.
I don't think I slept in a tent for quite a while because every year for like 4th of July we go to my other grandparents' lake, and some people use tents there, but I'm usually only there for a day because of work, so I usually just sleep in somebody's RV. But Kyle, your turn.
Yeah, Kyle, what do you camp? Have you
No.
You don't set up a tent on the beaches?
I am a city boy. I do not go outdoors.
Have you ever like met a wild animal?
No. Those are the thing?
Why'd you put it that way?
I'm like, I don't know if I've met a wild animal either.
I mean, I've met wild animals. Well, see, as long as you live life in the mindset of like just fail forward, animals are way more afraid of you than you should be of them. So you can just like fuck up and they won't care about you. They'll just go away. So I'm probably a lot more likely to approach a wild animal than I should.
How do you get rabies?
Well, I mean, as long as they don't attack you, they're scared. Well, like, okay, so like during my job, like I said, like I'm in like the like woods near a creek. There's a wild bear that was just like going through everyone's like just traveling the neighborhood. And like I would see it while I'm going, and everyone's like, "Oh, watch out! There's a bear." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I saw it." I like just do my job. And like there was a point where like there was like some bushes, right? And like I was doing something. I turn around and the bear's head is just peeking out of the bush. Then we both spot each other and he just books it. It was fun. He was a nice bear. We ran into each other twice, and both times he was like, it was like one of those moments where like you're going around a corner and there's a person there. You're like, oh. But I mean, I've gone actual camping. I realized, so like I grew up next to a lake, and there is an island on the lake that I've heard be called Boy Scout Island because scouts would go up there and camp. And I've gone out there. We've pontooned out there. Me and some friends have for a few days. Those are always fun. And I went one 4th of July. I was camping, and it was so what these things are like. What's hanging me up right now is the idea that Adam said he won't do it if there isn't a toilet, and I used to be able to just only need to like take a shit like twice a week. Probably not healthy, but that's what it was.
Definitely not.
It was fine for me, whatever. So it's been throwing me off because I'm like, I don't think I've ever gone to the bathroom when I've gone camping.
Oh, like that is a thing. That is when I went camping as a kid, I wouldn't go to the bathroom all week. Like number 2. And Like that's just how my body. Like when I went to, this is not camping, but when I went to Texas for a week, like 2 years ago, I didn't go to the bathroom the entire time. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I just not going to the bathroom? Like, I'm eating things that should make me go to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm just going to get like a bunch of McDonald's or whatever. That'll make me go. It didn't. I'm like, something's wrong. I think it's just my anal retentiveness of not being at my own bathroom.
Yeah, for sure. I want the toilet there if I need to take a poop. I don't think, like, more than likely, if I'm going camping, like, in a tent, probably not going to be pooping. Like, that's a very similar thing where it's like, that's not going to happen. But if I get to the moment and I need to take a poop, I'm not squatting in the woods. That's not going to be my life.
Let's all brainstorm right here. What do we think the best solution to needing this shit in the woods is?
If you have to, if it's getting to the
point, I really want to dig deep into this.
What do you mean?
Say you're camping and you're like, shit, I got shit. There's no toilets. What's the solution?
Go.
You just go?
Go? Yeah. I don't know what you're trying to get at right now.
I know
I'm saying when there's an aversion to wanting to shit while camping, if you have this aversion to it, and like you're in this scenario of like you get stuck in that solution, like do you just bite your dignity and go?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'll deal with it if it ever comes to that moment, but I'm not going camping where I don't have a toilet, so I'll never have to deal with it. And if I'm stranded in the woods without a toilet, then something worse has gone wrong with my life, and pooping the least of my worries.
Hey, all I'm saying is you haven't lived until you wake up in the middle of the night and realize you put your tent in an opportune spot and you're currently sleeping in 2 inches of water because it's been storming all night.
I've gone camping in a hurricane and had a similar situation.
Well, I think it's time we flush this conversation and get right into the recap. I just cut off your story, but I think we've made the audience suffer enough.
You're gonna miss out my Gopher Hole story then.
So last time we started off a nice little scene of answering a question in the Dark World as to Deborah keeps getting sick. What's going on with that? And then Darius. We learn that Darius is spending his magical resources to constantly keep her going, to keep her healthy for this long, arduous journey. This journey that's taking seemingly forever, because it's hard to tell how much time is passing because there's no change in the position of compass. There's no change in the darkness. It's just moving forward as Gargak leads. But back in the second world, Endien's crew of Thellum and Nathaniel and Ildatha are about their third night of hiking these mountains. The winds are getting extremely vicious, very bad gales. Ildatha is no longer able to fly around and help scout because of it. He has to land. And then eventually a pillar of stone smashes down in front of everyone. Some of you getting hurt. No, I believe you all might have dodged it. I don't really recall. No, you got hit.
I got crushed.
You got crushed. Nathaniel got crushed by
Endien
this.
got hurted too.
Yeah. So no one really. There are no winners. You guys eventually realize both where the pillar came from and why the winds are so bad, as you see in the distance Sharuma fighting a wind elemental. Initially, you decide, let's not fuck with that. He doesn't see us. Let's just keep going to our destination while we can. So you guys get there and you reach this energy. Nathaniel feels this like energy of this power point as they approach this almost like clearing or platform on the mountain with 6 caves and a large spruce. As they're approaching to see if people are there or what's going on, Thellum trips. Thellum gets up, starts seeing what he tripped over, and then you realize you're finding the frozen corpses of several of these centaur druids. Seeing everything's abandoned, you think maybe it's likely that Sharuma did it. Some of these wounds look like they're, like they've been crushed by something. It's clearly what he might have done. Do you think the New Green Faith might have come here and done something? So you see, where Sharuma's at, and you make your way back to Sharuma. While there, you decide to engage before he notices you. Nathaniel decides to prove their worth in battle at this moment by wild shaping into a bear and approaching to get toe-to-toe with Sharuma while he's fighting the wind elemental. Eventually, in this combat, he is taking plenty of hits from Sharuma. They are, enduring this combat. Eventually, Nathaniel's the one who puts the finishing blow on this wind elemental, who then turns into this crystal shard. Nathaniel, as a bear, takes it in their mouth and books it. Sharuma, pissed, decides to start hunting Nathaniel across the board. However, Endien, using the venom they got from Chaco, paralyzes Sharuma in his tracks, allowing Thellum to get up there and start the flurry of blows. However, Sharuma's attention wanes from Nathaniel and onto Thellum, asking if their name is Amaric. Thellum, confused by this, maybe hesitates a moment, but Sharuma reaches out a hand and asks if Thellum would like to discuss this somewhere else. A little confused, Thellum declines the offer by throwing in a few more punches. Sharuma then decides to let you have the gem, and he teleports away. Unsure of what next, this encounter you probably didn't know what you were wanting out of this encounter or what you were expecting when you did this, but you realize you came empty-handed. You ended up mostly empty-handed, other than successfully stopping Sharuma from getting this gem. And you decide to head back to the Pen of Light's camp. Darius.
Okay, I'm never sure what's happening. Okay.
You are on. It's cold. It feels like cold dirt. You're on your back. You are tied down. It's dark in here. As you're looking around, you're in a cavern of some sort. And you have the will to do this. You have a strong sense of self, and you can go through with this. It'll be okay. You have the will to do this, and you keep repeating this mantra to yourself to try and reassure to yourself that you have the will to go through with this. You have a strong enough will, and you will survive what happens.
I mean, how did I end up in this cave? Why am I tied down?
You volunteered. You volunteered to do this. You knew it had to be done if you were to make it. You knew that the only way to do this was to make sure your mind and soul was impenetrable. And you found this might have been the only way to get through. You hear some clacking in the darkness. and it's getting a little bit louder, and you kind of wince at first as you realize what's happening. But you know you can go through with this. But these two, out of the darkness, in these shades of gray as they finally enter your vision, as you know what's making the sounds, it's these two very, very different looking bug-like humanoids. One might look like more cricket-like. The other one more beetle-like. And they're approaching you, and you can't really make anything out of their eyes because of it's just a void of darkness. There's nothing to read. But I don't think you need to read it. You know what's happening. You know you volunteered, and you have the will to do this. You will survive this, and you will make it through to the other side. These bugs are approaching you, and they're chittering to each other. You don't know exactly what they're saying, but you know they don't really regard you with much respect. These creatures. So you know that you could communicate if you needed to, but you know there's no need to at this point. You're already at the end of this part. Eventually these beetles surround you, these bugs, these two, they come to you, and you take in a deep breath to brace yourself, because you have enough will to do this. You can survive this. You will make it to the end. You will survive. It's going to be you. Their claws dig into your flesh and rip chunks out, and it hurts like hell, and they're feasting on it. And then eventually it gets to the point where they're not even really ripping. They're just gnawing at your arms and your legs, and it hurts like hell as these things keep devouring you. But you need to keep strong. You have a strong sense of mind, and you have a strong sense of self, and you will survive. You will be the one who survives. And this is, if nothing else, a test. Not a test, but a show of what you can do. Because you will survive this. As they start eating you, and they're biting into your flesh, ripping off, and they're consuming you bit by bit. And you don't know when it happens, but eventually the pain overcomes you, and you black out. And you try to open your eyes again, and it's things feel bright, almost hazy and bright, and it's hard to see, and it feels cold, and it feels wet. Whatever this is, it feels like home. This feels comforting. You feel invigorated, and you collapse. Something bursts, and you collapse to the cold, wet ground, covered in whatever this stuff was, and you're just getting your eyesight out of this. And you did it. You did it. You look down, and you can see hazily, like you're seeing a smeared Vaseline, like a reflection of yourself in a mirror that's had Vaseline splattered on it. It's hazy and blurry, but you see your reflection, and you know you did it. You survived. You're gonna be able to get through this, Darius. It's time for you to start seeking. And you feel like you're drowning almost as you wake up, and you realize you're sleeping in the swamp, and you had somehow gotten submerged, and you look over. How would you normally think you would camp out in the belly swamps?
I mean, as part of Darius's tools and such, I whenever possible, when we have the time and materials, and even the space, he would be cobbling together very rough lean-tos and things like that, just so that we're not as exposed, and then really probably sleeping very lightly, also having all sorts of alarm spells as far out as he could safely do, just trying to cover as much space as possible. So I think waking up at any time, he immediately takes a register of all of those spells to see if one of those is what both them all.
you almost like you were drowning for a second, and you start coughing up this sludge and grime. You realize you're 20 feet out from your lean-to. All of your alarms were fine. You slept in your lean-to, but your commotion kind of alerts Gargak and Deborah, who take note and look outside. Is like, what? Are you okay?
Yeah. Must something just didn't sit right with me. Sorry. Y'all go back to sleep. I'm good. Don't worry about it. As I'm just like wiping whatever, like the bile and the sludge from my mouth.
Okay. We're not too far out. Keep your wits about you. We'll get there very soon.
Good. Yeah, I mean, sooner the better, Gargak. Sooner the better.
And with that, we'll fade away from your campsite, and we'll come to the encampment of the Pen of Light, where you all have trudged up the hill back to it. With the winds dying down, with the wind elemental dead, you find that Ildatha is able to help scout better with you. You find it's clear. You get there yourselves. You think you have about maybe an hour until nightfall.
I think as we were walking, or soon after, I would ask, because Nathaniel still would have held on to the gem or crystal, whatever we got from the elemental, and would turn to look to Endien and Thellum and just like, how do you know him? How do you know who that was?
He's been...
We don't really know him.
Not personally, but he's been... We know he's associated with the people we're trying to stop. Or at least working with them. Which is what associated means. I just doubled up on the same word. But we've fought him before. He's part of the reason why our friend is missing.
He seemed to know you, Thellum. You don't know him? Why?
No. I don't even recognize that name.
Why would he ask you to go with him?
People are strange.
Very much so.
It is concerning he seems so interested in you.
Yeah, then I think a lot of silence then, making our way back to the camp, because Nathaniel doesn't exactly know how to make or what to make of this situation.
Should we camp here tonight?
Yes. I mean, it will be... They lived here, at least some of the time, so it'll be welcoming enough, if you don't mind all the corpses in front of your sleeping area. Yes, I think it's best that we camp here and see what we can still learn from this place.
Yeah, so like I said, there is like this opening area where you think maybe like 20 people could be gathered. It's probably where they've come to do social activity or meet or do whatever. There's this big spruce that's growing from the side, and 6 different caverns in the side of the mountain.
How... I guess I would start looking through the caverns just to see, like if they're all sleeping areas or what, like the general setup of the caves are.
And what about what is Endien and Thellum gonna do? Ildatha is going to stay and keep watch as an owl, so he's gonna go fly up around the area to make sure like nothing's coming this way while you guys are setting up.
Thellum's not too worried about shelter because he can just go inside the ring.
He also, as far as he's like spent so much of his time in the outdoors, and the cold doesn't bother him. I imagine This is just like feels pretty homely for him.
Yeah, the dead bodies.
Yeah,
Dead bodies are just decoration.
yeah.
What was Nathaniel doing? Sorry.
I'm just kind of doing like a general search of the caves to see like, are they all sleeping areas, or is like one like an indoor gathering, or just seeing what the general setup is?
Yeah, that's what Endien would be doing too. See if find somewhere that's like maybe they could do a fire at that wouldn't be as noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Can Thellum, because we're gonna go to these guys to see if they can help us with Darius, right?
Well, these ones are all dead apparently, so we might have to go to Nathaniel's ex people.
Yep.
No, Nathaniel's an X, but Thellum will Thellum will, I guess, look if there's some books mentioning anything where Darius would be.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll say you each take 2 different caves, go to explore. Basically, as you're approaching, they seem a little bit larger, so multiple people could each live in each cave. They seem, besides the fact that you don't know how long they've been dead, they seem lived in. There is bedding of furs and pine needles and all sorts of things like that to like help give them somewhere to like rest. You see noticeable veins of moonstone in this mountain. So like each cave, it's like you'll see like veins of it in the sides. Nathaniel, you find as you're like digging through this stuff and like looking to see, you see carvings, like wooden carvings. So it looks like they might have spent time making totems or trinkets of sorts, as they are like, some of which look like demons, some of them look like beasts, some of them look like people, some of them look like centaurs. So you're finding these carvings. I guess all of you would find these, like the bedding and the carvings. You'll find like water skins. It seems like a lot of them still have water in them. You'll notice some of them have a dyed red piece of leather around them. So you guys will end up finding 3 water skins that are healing potions. You find 2 crooks that you think are sizable enough to be used like quarterstaffs, and you find a leather scroll case with a scroll inside. It's a spell scroll of Goodberry. In Thellum, you find just this like large like orb of moon, like a crystal orb that is made out of moonstone.
I'm right. Can I try to? I'll fail. Can I try doing an Arcana check on it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make that. That's a 1.
Oh, yeah, no. You know, crystals and jewelry and shit like that can be magical, but you don't know anything from it specifically.
As Nathaniel at least kind of checks out those couple of caves, they would kind of take everything that we could potentially use out of it, especially if they have any. I know they're centaurs, but any type of winter type gear that may fit or be usable for Endien, since I know she doesn't have the best winter gear, but then spend and start moving the bodies out of the snow into a couple of the caves, kind of setting them out with as much reverence as possible, like, you know, using some of the bedding, some of the extra pine needles and furs and things like that to give them a bit more of a respectful resting.
So you start moving those. I don't know, possibly if you all help, but either way, you'll get them start moving. I pretty much listed the useful items that you've seen, and then I'll say by the time you've collected and found them all and moved them in, you can do that. About an hour and a half is coming to. Was it Endien or Thellum that wanted to figure out the best way to camp without alerting people?
Endien.
Give me a survival check.
Hey, girl. Shit. Well, it's 23.
Okay. Yeah, you think, you just suspect at least that you could light the fire near the entrance of one of the caves to help block out, and like it'll make the light more directional in a way, but it'll at least help also give it some cover. You think if it's near the entrance of the cave, it's not going to smoke itself out.
Mhm.
So you could do that. Whether or not you guys, which side of the fire you're on, I suppose depends. Is up to you guys, but you think that's probably the best way to go about that. There are I'll say there is like hides and stuff like that you guys can use as winter gear for Endien.
Yay.
Can I get nature checks from everybody? So Eldatha's come back. It's nothing seems to be coming. Dark is setting. It's not a full moon yet, but Synthoth is tomorrow night. Synthoth will be a full moon.
16.
I got a natural one.
I got a 19, but it's a -2, so 7.
Still
17.
Still the highest. I'll say Thellum and Endien, as Nathaniel is preparing and doing this ceremony not ceremony, but giving them a more ceremonial placement for their bodies. The moon is shining above you guys, almost full, almost practically full. It's almost indistinguishable at this point. You see that the orb that Thellum found, it's like reflecting the light almost. It's like the orb itself in the moonlight it feels more radiant. You don't know that you necessarily have looked at Moonstone in this way before, but it looks like it's responding to being bathed in the moonlight.
Is there like some kind of pedestal either out here or in one of the caves that can be hit by the moonlight that this thing would sit on? No.
No. No. So Nathaniel would know that while the pursuers might have something like that, because they are tracking the moon and that's a very powerful, prominent thing for them, you don't think that the Pen of Light was necessarily focused on the moon itself. The only like real standout feature of this place is the large spruce.
Can I try direct light towards the spruce?
Yes. So as you are taking almost like as a focal point of this orb and redirecting it closer to more directly towards the tree, you see glowing in the bark runic carvings start to appear on the tree side.
That's where the Pen of the Light comes in. I was like, hold on a minute.
Neither Endien or Thellum understand this language, though.
What? You don't
I
know.
don't know how to read.
Is it Druidic? Nathaniel?
I don't know. I would cut, assuming y'all would have said something.
Oh, look, writing on the tree.
Yeah, I mean, I would check it out.
Nathaniel's just hauling bodies, doing all the heavy lifting. Or they're doing all the heavy lifting. Nathaniel, as you go to check this tree, you can tell indeed these glowing ruins are a form of Druidic.
What does it say?
It
Various.
It is depicting a ritual that is guarded by the Pen of Light. It gives a little bit of, not a lot, because it seems like, one, there's not a lot of space, but it's also trying to get to a point. But it does express that the Pen of Light, as guardians of Dark World, they have a ritual that will indeed, however, let you make that connection again. So the ritual, as listed, it says that you, 1, need moonlight captured in a crystal orb. 2, you need permission from an entity of Dark World. 3, a totem carved into your greatest fear. 4, vestigiata spruce clippings. that were dipped in melted tallow from animals. Those are at least the things you need for the ritual. The ritual itself, essentially, when you get these, what you'll do is you will get these spruce clippings that are dipped in this tallow, and you will end up using them as earplugs. Then the leader of your journey will take the orb and lift it as a guiding light for everyone. Everyone else will be holding in their other hand a totem carving of their greatest fear. And you will, with the permission of the entity of Dark World, you will follow the orb into the cave behind the tree, which, if you go back and you inspect on the other side, there is a cave that goes into the mountain below the tree, and it is lined. Endien and Thellum would know the walls are lined in lemonite.
I would explain all of that. I would assume we've already found the orb. The totems would be simple enough to make. Same with. I'm assuming this spruce tree is a Fastigia spruce tree.
No, but I think you would know enough that on the mountain it's pretty littered. They're very small, almost like dwarf trees.
Okay. Gathering the clippings will be of no real concern. We can probably track down some tallow, either left here or hunt something to make the tallow. I don't know how we are going to get permission from an entity of Dark World. I don't know anything that lives there and how we would get that.
Yes, that seems like a very troubling situation to be in.
Well, everyone's discussing. Well, Nathaniel, I'm gonna whisper up to my ring. Are you of the Dark World? In Primordial.
What was that, though?
You just hear a low grumbling from Thellum. I'm trying to decide what to do here. Because I think I've pretty much made it understood that he cannot respond. He can only respond in one volume.
But he responds in Primordial, so.
But I know, but he's whispering, so that he's taking that as he clearly thinks someone might understand.
It's Thellum. He likes to whisper.
Yeah. in Primordial back, you hear, and I guess you would all hear this rumbling sound echo from his ring. Why do you ask, young Thellum?
Because I need consent, permission.
For what?
A ritual.
And what ritual would you need? That requires the consent of an individual from Dark World.
I'm assuming a ritual to get into Dark World.
Then I decline.
What, are you from Dark World? Now Thellum's not whispering anymore.
Thellum, does your friend have something to say?
Hold on.
Who is your friend? I don't feel like being shushed right now. Who are you talking to?
Yes, this is very concerning. What is speaking to you?
Okay. Too many people are talking. He catch this. He goes into the ring.
Endien doesn't catch it.
On
the snow.
What was that?
It's hard to explain. There's an entity living inside of his ring that he talks to quite often.
That's very concerning.
Yes. You get used to it, unfortunately.
What kind of entity?
I know it's a genie, right?
Yeah, you know it's yeah. I think I'm pretty sure that's been a.
I know it's been said. I just can't remember who it was all said to. It's a genie living in there. He asks them to bring things to him sometimes, and in turn has saved his life and mine.
Interesting.
Yes, very. And apparently he's having some kind of argument with them now, so I don't know if he knows something about what we have to do here.
Well, I suppose if he's saved the princess's life, then he couldn't be all bad.
Well,
Hmm.
only in payment of a dragon egg, unfortunately.
A dragon egg.
It was one of our early rescues from this group that man that we just encountered worked for. And unfortunately, this entity wanted that as well. And found a way to get it by resurrecting us.
Feel like the world has only gotten stranger.
You've only seen half of it.
Nathaniel,
He'll be there for a little bit.
visibly is a little taken aback by that statement.
He'll be in there for a while. Just remember where it is so we don't lose it.
Inside of the ring, Thellum poofs in, and you see that Pazuzu is like arms crossed and like very visibly annoyed.
No. You don't get to be annoyed. You get to be the keeper of this. Once I'm gone, you do not get to be annoyed. I just wanted to know if you're from the Dark World and if you give consent or whatever, permission, whatever.
I will not allow you to go to Dark World.
Why not?
Have you ever been to Dark World?
No, but I've been to places where it's dark and I can see in them now.
There is a reason I have walked Fracterra instead of Dark World. It's a miserable, gloom, awful existence.
You know what else is in that miserable, gloomy, dark existence? Someone. I know you have everything or that you want already, but someone who could help give you more of those items. Someone who is very useful, smart, and powerful. Well,
I've already been here. I've already done that for myself. I've been here the whole time. Young Thellum, you will need to offer up something quite hefty for me to go back to Dark World. I am not very excitable to the prospect of ending up there when you die.
I hate that these conversations happen where we can't interact at all.
I love it.
I think it's on purpose.
Do I challenge? Because no matter what, well, not no matter what, I might find another way, and he'll be in there with me. I don't. Okay, Pazuzu. I need Darius back. He's helped me a lot. For me to just not be able to help him back, at least get him to Fracterra. What would the price be?
I don't know, Thellum. It is something I very much do not want. And it's hard to find things that I might want when I know that I already have everything I'll need.
So what happens if I do find a way, and you'll be back there?
And it'll be very unpleasant for both of us.
Well, I wish you luck if I do find a way.
Here's an idea. Get me his box.
Who?
Darius's box.
What use would you have that?
I don't know yet, but it seems as though it has gotten us in quite too many problems.
Well, I'll go back to you if I can't find another way. And he poofs out.
And then just Thellum poofs back into the cold snow. He's covered in snow because the ring was buried a little.
During this time, could Endien have looked at that gem that the air elemental left?
Yeah.
I just want. Just Nathaniel, can I look at that for a moment?
Yes, of course.
I just want. if he had something else to say. I just wanted to see if it was similar to the ones that we had to collect for the librarian test.
Yes, it's a very similar concept. You would recognize the crystals that each of the things you collected in the library exam. The crystals were a little bit different each. It seemed more dependent on what the creature that you defeated. And this wind elemental, yeah, it's a very similar. It seems to be some kind of soul gem.
This is strange. I don't know what it means, but it is familiar.
Where have you encountered these before?
When I took my test to receive my librarian license, the thing we used to travel between lands, the monsters we had to slay would drop these, and then we'd put them into lanterns and return them to complete the test. But this one just seemed to be on its own and dropped this, so I don't know what that means necessarily.
What did the lanterns do anything?
Not that I remember. They didn't do anything, did they?
Oh, the lanterns, they were kind of like lantern shaped. They were like containment units that you guys put the gems in, and with the gems in that containment unit, they were able to forge those gems into your library license.
Oh yeah, sweet. They were forged into the license themselves, but nothing else that I'm aware of.
Is your license, is it magical?
Is my license magical?
The things that you've noted from your license in specific, it's magical in the sense that it is a magic item. It basically does contain the soul of a creature inside of it. Its magic is used to do various things, such as in your mag phone, it's able to amplify how the mag phone works, which is why Endien is able to communicate with a far larger range of people than either Darius or Thellum's mag phone, which is tethered to Endien's. So it's able to amplify certain things, certain devices. I think Darius would probably have a little bit better explanation of some of this stuff. But you know that much. I mean, Endien knows that it might have just been like a thing in the back of Endien's mind, and they haven't really had a chance to really interact with it. But occasionally, when like brushed up against a wall or something, it like maybe a trick of the mind. It feels as though maybe Endien has stuck a little bit to it, and that seems a notable change that they've had since having this license. But it hasn't been anything Endien's tested out or thought of or anything like that. So they've just been ignoring it mostly. Maybe it's because when you're going up trees, you might think it's sap, but you're not sure. Maybe there's honestly so many possibilities in Endien's case as to why she might stick to things.
What do you mean?
But it's because her personality is so prickly.
So attractive. So magnetic.
So magnetic. Yeah, you feel magic from it. It's been hard to not really something. It's been so ambient for you for over a year now that you haven't really engaged with it. And also, I think we've talked about this before. When we were talking about you starting your mission with Rook and Bastion, Endien has a very different career path as a librarian than a lot of librarians end up doing, because Endien's so soul focused on this one mission that they haven't really connected with other librarians at all. They haven't really gone on missions with other librarians at all. So there's a lot of things in the library that Endien just has so little knowledge of that others might have as common knowledge.
Aside from that, does this world have like a airplane and a fire plane and that kind of stuff? Is that
you have airships?
Well, like I mean, like
you mean okay, that might
not like a plane of fire.
Okay, sorry. There's in one of the campaign settings. They use elementals to help their airships go.
Okay,
so that's why I was like, that's where my brain went. You went for like the actual things. No, not for us. I think we've determined like elementals and stuff like that. Kind of spark out of like the ley lines. Like they're birthed of Dark World, but they often slip through into Fracterra because of the ley lines.
Can this gem give me permission to go to the Dark World then?
Interesting. Possibly.
Possiblemente.
I want to just look up one thing.
What is that traditionally called? Because it's not called the airplane.
Plane of air, plane of fire.
Okay.
Yeah, the elemental planes is what those would
Yeah.
be. Just have to look up some CRs.
DR convenience. Shout out. I just realized how very not even regional, just one town. Oh my gosh, so neat. Relates to.
Second shout out.
Again, anyone listening, send IDL a DM if you can name it, and name either one of us who knows what that is.
CR convenience. If you want better press, you gotta give me stuff.
Nah, CR
Yeah.
wouldn't pay for PR. They
They
don't
also
need it.
changed the recipe of their pizza, and it sucks now. And it used to be the best pizza on this side of the Mississippi.
I think that's what you said that made us decide they couldn't get good coverage unless they.
Such a niche shout out.
Okay. Endien,
Yes.
if you're looking at this gem and you're wanting to converse with it,
Hold this. Suck inside of it.
Holding the ring and the gem now.
what languages do you speak?
I speak. I know. I don't know why I have to look at my character sheet. I know what she speaks. Common, Elvish, and Sylvan.
You feel like there's no way you could parlay with this thing because you don't speak the same languages. However, you feel as though you could assert your dominance over it. You could use magic and force, because you are possession of its soul gem, you could force it to do things.
Could I put it near my mag phone and see if the mag phone is able to interact with it? Since the mag phone has my license in it, correct?
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's not. There's
Piss.
nothing that works with it like that.
What am I gonna do? Lesser restoration's a stupid thing.
Like I say, you could magically, you could force it. You could like command it. You can do things like that.
We just
Huh.
need to be able to talk to it. And
No. I mean, what I'm saying is, you can't like get its consent because
but
you
I
don't
could
speak its language.
force it to
But
give
you
consent,
can.
which just doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. You could. Oh, you can use like force it with your will to like control this thing.
Can I try to focus on that and see if I can just do it like just by focusing in on it right now? Or
Yeah. Give me an Arcana or a Nature check.
oh, Endien, you're so silly. Arcana or nature?
Yep.
Yeah, you're pretty silly. That's a 10.
That's a 10. All right. I need you to make a Charisma saving throw.
Oh hell. Oh, I'm exhausted. I forgot. That it wouldn't have saved me there, but
Yeah.
okay. 12.
Nathaniel, Thellum, Ildatha, you're seeing Endien is trying to force their will onto this air elemental. It doesn't.
here.
It like sparks a bit. And there's like a almost like a spark that like a mini explosion. The gem's like there, but like a magical explosion almost as it like feedbacks. But it doesn't seem as though whatever Endien was doing worked.
What were you attempting?
I was attempting to commune with the creature that's trapped in here, but it didn't seem to work correctly. I was hoping we could use it as a way to get in the Dark World, but I'm not strong enough.
Would Thellum perhaps have a better chance of it?
What is everyone's passive insight?
Dead. 16.
15.
12.
Nathaniel, you notice when Endien is talking to you, they're a little bit more breathy in their voice.
Mhm.
She's flirting.
I was just to say, before we take off into this, I like how you addressed Ildatha.
Oh yeah. I need everyone else to know that they're there.
And you weren't, obviously you weren't successful communicating with it.
Doesn't appear so.
Hearing another chance to get into the Dark World, Thellum out of character, Thellum has no fucking chance. But he's gonna take that shot and pick up the gem and try and commune with it.
Endien does not give way of the gem.
Are you okay?
Fine.
Okay. Can I try to see the gem?
I think I'll hold on to it for now, just in case.
Why?
I think I can get in my next try. I just have to stay in contact with it to get more familiar with the entity.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, we still have to collect the tallow and the spruce and the carving, so...
Yes, we should work on the other things while I try to crack this. I was very close the first time.
Can I do... I know I picked something up on the passive. Can I try to, like, just based off of this, can I do, like, an actual insight check to see if I get anything else from it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to roll any better, but... Ooh, dirty 20.
Can I get a... Can I get a deception or from Endien?
You're exhausted.
Hey, I'm exhausted. Does exhaustion count for me right now?
No.
Okay, 17.
What the heck?
17?
Yeah.
So yeah, Endien very much is acting different. Clearly much more talkative than normal for one. But they seem very guarded in what they're saying.
How much longer do you think you would have to spend with the gem?
I may need a rest to fully immerse myself with it to find its weaknesses.
Well, we can see what we can still gather from here, but with nightfall upon us, we shouldn't be going out too far from the camp, and I don't think I saw any of the spruces nearby enough, so we'll likely have to wait until tomorrow night to attempt this anyways.
Yes.
Yes, let's... I guess we need to start carving our totems.
That
You
sounds like a
almost
good
got a
idea.
totem?
It
Yes.
sounded like it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll go start
Everyone say
collecting good wood.
totem like that.
Totem?
Totem.
Totem?
You said it. I wasn't going to say anything, and then Kyle also said it that way. Ever hit both the T's really hard in totem?
Totem. In my normal speaking voice, I don't, but...
Toe.
I think everyone from the court says totem.
I try to do my snooty voice with Nathaniel, so they say totem.
I mean, Ildatha's good to start collecting like some like sizable pieces of wood. They're not sure how everyone's gonna be good at, so that they get like they want to go and get like some separate from like several of them for people who make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to, as we're doing this, I'm continuing to keep an eye on Endien. Just mostly seeing, like, is she actually doing anything? Like, she's saying that she was going to focus more on the gem, but is she doing anything else as we're kind of starting to prep for getting ready for the night? Especially compared to, like, how we've camped over the past 3-4 nights, where I'm sure Endien was probably pretty involved in, like, setting up camp and making sure things were, like, secure, set, like, well done and things like that. That's my assumption, since she is well traveled.
What about Thellum?
Thellum's gonna... No, we're trying to settle it in for the night. I was gonna say try and get some tallow. I guess he'll just try and make whatever space that we're gonna be sleeping in. I don't know, just orderly, nice, clean.
Yeah, as you guys you're collecting your stuff, as it's getting into the night, Ildatha has collected wood. You're all able to start carving your pieces.
Would we say we've had the equivalent of a short rest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Just
Yeah. You guys haven't been. Yeah, you've been sitting here.
gonna do,
To be fair, Nathaniel's the one who's been doing a lot of work.
Yeah. just
I'm a
gonna-
princess.
As you should. As you should.
Let me just look at some things that may be useful for me. You know,
Like, who took the potions, by the way, in the scroll for Goodberry?
I would have given whoever found the potions. Nathaniel wouldn't have asked for one since you already gave them one of your potions. So essentially, like if they were one to find one, would give it to one of you.
So I have 3, so she probably would have given them to you just so we're spread out. So we're not one person. Because I think Thellum has 2, right? Because Thellum gave Endien one after she gave one to...
Yes.
There you go. So
One
we're just
regular,
leaving with you.
one greater.
So they're spread out amongst people. It depends if you want Goodberry or... Because both of us can learn Goodberry.
I don't know what good berry is.
That's because you can't learn it.
It's it's probably more useful for you to have the scroll.
Okay.
Because I already have it prepared. So like,
Oh, yeah, and I don't have it prepared, so I can use the scroll.
Yeah.
Then. I just wanted to get that out of the way so we're not forgetting about it.
I think I am going to over the course of us getting ready. I would start with Ildatha and try to talk to him away from the other 2.
Somebody's talking to a Dotha? What the fuck? I forbid this.
Well, they're friends.
Yeah, I've known Ildatha a lot longer than you 2.
You don't know.
Well, I've known him
You've
longer
known
than
him
I
personally.
Ildatha,
Yes.
how well do you know Endien?
We've only been on speaking terms for a few months now, but I have stayed by the king's side for a very long time.
She seems to be acting different ever since after whatever happened with that gem. It concerns me. She doesn't seem to be herself.
You could, if you think something's amiss, you could always bring up something very traumatic that would cause a predictable reaction. It's always a good way of having someone betray their thoughts.
That is an interesting idea. I don't know what the fuck I'd say though, Ildatha. That's the issue here, bud.
You could. She seems. I would say her actions have been very strange to me in the last month. Ever since she came back from the desert, where they lost Darius. This whole mission seems very unusual for the princess. Perhaps you could bring up something to do with Darius.
I don't know if I know them well enough to know what would be the appropriate reaction to anything I would ask.
I apologize that I'm not able to help further.
No, it is quite all right. I also, whatever may come of it, I wanted you to be aware of it before
Of course.
I did anything about it.
Of course.
Also, just looking at my character sheet, I know we're quite deep into it. But also, if this is a charm condition, we got fucking advantage on that as a ladron there, Endien.
I didn't ask. But also, I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
I know you're fine. I just saw that.
I wasn't worried about it either.
I'm just carving. I'm just whittling, carving.
Well, I suppose we'll note, probably, at least in the next day, if something for sure is wrong.
I'm worried if we do not deal with it sooner rather than later, it'll be too late. Okay. Not that I stopped talking to Ildatha, but...
Yeah, Ildatha kind of heads back towards the campsite where people are whittling, and he sits down with he's going back to finishing his thing, and he looks up across over to Endien and says, "This is the end of the episode." We did. We're here.
Say to me, Ildatha's sometimes Ildatha, kill him.
Well, if you would like to talk to me about advice on how to use the bathroom in the woods, you can always hit me up on Twitter. That's Bumblescum. That's with a K. If you would like to talk about how some sessions can be 3 days long and some sessions can be 3 hours long, you can always hit up the IDL at @IDL_RPGS or hashtag IDL. If you would like to ask Adam, the best way to read a tree, you can hit him up at Little Growth. If you would like to ask BakaZombie what's going on, you can always hit him up at Zombie Baka. I don't have a funny thing for this. Kyle's not talking to you. Goodbye, fucker.
Fucker.